Now at 9, how an initiative in Missouri is aiming to reduce the state's backlog of untested rape kits. Plus, details on a shooting in Baxter Springs, Kansas that left 2 people dead. And
the holidays are here, and so are discounts for shoppers. I'm Malda Rivera in Washington with more on what consumers can expect this season coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. At least 2 people are dead after a shooting in Baxter Springs, Kansas. Authorities responded to reports just before 3 this afternoon in the 2400 block of Lincoln. Cherokee County authorities confirmed 2 people are dead. 1 person has life-threatening injuries. Authorities say they arrested 41-year-old Kyle Butts of Independence, Missouri. KBI has taken over the investigation. Missouri has untested rape kits dating back to 1997. Recently, the state received state and federal funding to test 70% of kits from 2018 to 2020. KOAM's Carrie Worthen spoke with the survivor, about her frustration in waiting for her safe kit to come back.
The 19th of this month was 14 months since I was sexually assaulted.
Safe kits are backlogged across Missouri. I spoke with one anonymous victim about her wait and her safe kit results.
So I am just really frustrated that nothing is being done. Nobody knows really in the public how backlogged the state crime lab is because it's not talked about.
Captain William Davis says it's not an issue in Joplin, but more of the Missouri Attorney General's office.
We have about a 2-week turnaround right now that those have to be shipped out to either, we send them to the state crime lab. And so they're only housed now for a very short period of time before we send them off to the state crime lab.
The anonymous victim said she filed a protective order towards the attacker, but it has been a year and the order has expired.
It's expired at this point, at the year mark. And so not only do I have to figure out how to move on without, the kit being processed and all of that to help things move forward, but I also have to figure out how to feel safe without all of that being taken care of.
A lot of times we'll have to sit and wait for any evidence or results that come in from that testing before we can continue with a criminal investigation if there aren't any further leads that we can utilize to help develop a criminal case for prosecution.
Nationwide, since 2015 to March 2022, the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative Program has sent 83,201 kits for testing.
I really just feel like my goal is to get the crime lab functioning properly, to where this isn't an issue, that we don't have a year or 3 or 4 year wait just to, get a DNA kit back.
In Joplin, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
To prevent a backlog of safe kits from developing in the future, Missouri Attorney General's office has developed an evidence tracking system that's going to track safe kits from production through case adjudication as it moves between organizations during the process. Doug Kennedy joining us now. First look at the forecast. Wind is going to howl tonight, huh?
Yeah, the winds are really going to pick up as we go through the overnight hours. They're not too bad right now, but they will start cranking, especially after midnight. But those southerly winds help our temperatures warm up. 60 for a high started, cold at 30 this morning. Normal highs 53 degrees for this time of the year. It's upper 40s Fort Scott, Nevada, and then we're at 50 in Pittsburgh, 52 in Anderson. Parsons is sitting at about 50 degrees, but these southerly winds will really start increasing through the overnight hours. Right now we have south winds at about 10 to 15 across the region. Clouds are increasing, clouds are thickening up. Not a whole bunch underneath the clouds, but we are going to see fairly thick clouds as we go through the overnight hours tonight and then into Tuesday. We do have some big temperature swings this week. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
Doug, thanks so much. There may be some changes to the housing market in Joplin. KOAM's Yana Hitala spoke with Joplin real estate agent, has more.
Real estate agent Shaylee Brown says the housing market in Joplin is moving from seller's market to a more normalized market.
Inventory in Joplin has been very low. We've been in the 200 homes on the market, 300 homes on the market.
Brown says The market now has around 600 to 700 homes.
Buyers are getting a little bit of reprieve and we're normalizing just a little bit, which is good.
She says interest rates are going up, which affects on how many buyers are out there.
While interest rates are shoppable and you can always redo your interest rate. So even if you buy right now with a little bit higher interest rate, if they drop again, you can refinance and change your rate, right? So we like to say, marry the home, but date the rate.
A Joplin resident recently bought a new home. She's happy that there are more houses on the market to choose from.
It felt like it was a good value for the home, and we did have the home appraised too, and it was that value.
Buying a home before Christmas can be important for many.
I wanted to get a tree up and be able to maybe put lights on before we actually got settled in anywhere, and we found people that would rent our current house out, and they wanted the same thing. So we ended up doing November 10th so that everyone had time to do holidays with families and they could be in the house.
Brown says they see more serious buyers with Christmas time approaching.
Sometimes December is our highest month of sales as a company, so a lot of times people try to get into homes before the holidays, so we've actually had a pretty active Thanksgiving break. We just came off of quite a bit of work over Thanksgiving break, which is good. Hopefully we'll get people into their homes before Christmas and they'll get to start the new year in their new place.
Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
Brown expects the housing market to stay the same for the rest of the year. Pitt State today announced a partnership with the University of Washburn. The partnership is going to speed up the process of getting a law degree. Under the new program, students are going to be able to spend 3 years over at Washburn, 3 years at Pitt State, wrapping up the degree 2 years earlier than normal.
They can come back out into the community and actually work with a firm or a judge or in a prosecutor's office that they want to be back into. So for practical purposes, in 5 years, rather than 7 years traditionally, they can be back out in this community if this is where they want to practice law when they're done.
Students accepted into the program are also going to get at least $5,000 in scholarships. Inflation is not scaring millions of people from spending billions on Cyber Monday. Fox's Madeline Rivera reporting now from D.C.
The holiday season is here. Even the White House has decked the halls. And the decor and lights are not the only reasons for the festive mood.
I think holiday shopping has been a tremendous success so far.
This year's Cyber Monday is once again expected to be the year's biggest online shopping day. Roughly 64 million people are expected to shop, with sales potentially topping $11 billion. It comes after a strong Black Friday showing when shoppers spent a record $9 billion online.
Consumers continue to surprise us by continuing to spend despite ongoing inflation. It's really showing a lot of resilience in their shopping attitudes.
Prices for items like TVs, laptops, and beauty products have all been slashed significantly. Still, some consumers say they're being strategic about what they buy.
It's just been kind of like researching for the whole month to kind of see where I'm at, and then just kind of assessing like what my needs are.
Every one of us is trying to stretch our dollars further than ever before in the face of this inflation we've experienced the last year and a half.
But not everyone is sold on the deals.
We were just talking about inflation and how it's really affecting everybody, that things were so much cheaper when I was young, but so were the salaries.
If you missed out on the Cyber Monday discounts, you may still be in luck. Experts say they expect many deals to last well into December and even after Christmas. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
The end of the year to-do list for Congress is long, expensive, and full of potential hot-button issues. Fox's Lauren Blanchard reporting on what lawmakers are going to need to agree on what they may be tasked with.
Congress is headed back to Washington, D.C. this week. Lawmakers need to avert a government shutdown mid-December by either passing a spending bill or giving themselves an extension.
The last thing we can afford right now is to turn government funding into another political tit-for-tat.
Following a deadly November with multiple mass shootings, President Biden is again calling for a ban on high-powered weapons, but he would need at least 60 votes in the Senate, which is unlikely.
We understand it's an uphill battle. We understand that this is not easy. He gets that, but doesn't mean that he's going to stop fighting for it or that he's going to stop talking about it.
And at the end of next week, a rail strike is possible if negotiators can't find a deal with rail labor unions. It could cost $2 billion a day. The White House and Congress say a strike is unacceptable and Congress could step in and force contract terms.
We cannot have our transportation system responsible for 1/3 of our products being transported throughout our country shut down. That's not an option.
The unions say their workers need paid sick time.
We have no desire to go on strike. We have no desire to interrupt anybody's holidays. We really would not like Congress to intervene.
Waiting until the strike deadline could still hurt the U.S. economy. Some food and chemical producers will have to start to pull their products from rail cars this week to make sure they don't get stuck. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Ross Grosso served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 1943 to 45. The Weir, Kansas native was stationed in Japan, received a Bronze Heart, also a Purple Heart. We are proud to thank and salute Corporal Ross Grosso. He's tonight's four-state hero. Coming up, a murder and terrorism case based on hate.
A teenager pleads guilty to killing nearly a dozen people at a Buffalo supermarket because of their skin color. I'm Alexis McAdams in New York. I'll have those details coming up next.
Well, the man who opened a fire on a Buffalo supermarket killed 10 black people pleads guilty. Families of the victims say it's the first step to getting justice. Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams says more.
The teenager, police say, fatally shot 10 black people at a top supermarket in Buffalo, New York, pled guilty to murder and hate-motivated terrorism charges on Monday. Prosecutors say 19-year-old Peyton Gendron targeted victims in that May shooting because of their skin color. Erie County District Attorney John Flynn calling the guilty plea swift justice.
Justice has been done today. But while justice has been accomplished, nothing will ever bring back the 10 beautiful people who lost their lives on that day.
The victims ranged in age from 32 to 86 years old. Among them, store customers, a top security guard, and a church deacon. In court on Monday, community leaders and victims' family members cried as the judge referred to each victim by name.
It was just gut-wrenching. And it made you angry all over again.
That was a hard pill to swallow because it just brings back that day all over again.
Prosecutors say the evidence against Gendron was overwhelming. It included video footage from a helmet camera that he live streamed from during the attack, as well as an online document where he posted his views about white supremacy. Gendron will be sentenced on February 15th. The domestic terror charge automatically carries life in prison without parole.
This critical step represents a condemnation of the racist ideology that fueled his horrific actions on May 14th.
Gendron faces separate federal hate crimes charges that could carry the death penalty. In New York, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast a bit later. How climate change could make it harder for you to get your hot cocoa this winter.
Still have some.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty nice Monday for us today. Temperatures warmed up right around 60 for an afternoon high. And then as we got into the afternoon, we saw actually quite a bit of sunshine across the region. Nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, just to the west. But a lot of clouds have started to increase, and that's what we're going to have as we go through the rest of the overnight hours. Also warmer. It was sitting into the mid-40s yesterday. It wasn't a bad day. We got down near freezing, and then all the way up right around 60 for us during the afternoon hours. Temperatures still upper 40s to lower 50s across the region. Case in point, Chanute 50 in Miami, 48 in Anderson, Lamar, and sitting also at about 48 degrees. It looks good. Here's 7th. Here's range line. We do have those clouds starting to increase, southerly winds at about 10 to 15. Those are really going to crank up as we go through the overnight hours. Humidity right about 59%. So it's been breezy. Hasn't been windy, but it's been breezy out there, and these winds will really start to increase after midnight for us tonight. Our temperatures kind of hang out near 50 for an overnight low and back to 60 by morning, by 10 a.m. with partly to mostly cloudy skies. Look at the clouds thickening up over the past couple hours. Nothing underneath them, so we are staying dry. But you can definitely see the entire Central Plains, quite a bit more cloudiness. And it's this storm system, this cold front that is heading toward us. And you can see the snow, Nebraska, parts of South Dakota. All that moisture is going to stay to our north at best. It looks like we may see a sprinkle or two. And that is really just about it. All right, let's go through time. We'll stop at 6:30 in the morning. A lot of clouds, maybe a sprinkle. warming into the mid-50s, winds really increasing throughout the morning hours. You can see a couple little sprinkles popping up, and then we pop into the 60s by the noon hour. By the afternoon, we do start to drop off. You can see the winds switch out of the northwest. That's our cold front, and then we start to plummet tomorrow night. We're going to drop all the way down into the mid-20s for overnight lows, so quite a bit colder. And then Wednesday, we only rebound upper 30s to near 40 degrees for afternoon high. So we're really going to see a switch over the next couple days with temperatures. All right, 7 a.m. 56, we go into the mid-60s, high 66. We back down to 52 during the afternoon, but look at these wind gusts approaching 50 by morning. Very strong through the morning, and then they start to diminish a little bit during the afternoon, but still winds gusting 35 to 40 during the afternoon. So here's our wind forecast. Where's my trash can? We're kind of teetering neighbor's yard to gone forever. So it's going to be super windy. My trash comes in the morning, so I got to be strategic about when I put it out there tonight if I want to do that. I'm also having a little feud with the neighborhood cat too, so I got to think about when I'm going to put it out there. But it is going to be windy tonight, tomorrow, 66 for a high, 42 Wednesday, back to 50 Thursday, a few showers by Friday.
You got a lot going on, don't you?
I do. I mean, that cat and the wind, I mean, it takes up a lot of time.
Do you want to talk about it during the next commercial break?
Good.
Okay, all right. We'll get it done. We'll get it taken care of. Doug, anything? Coming up, what is being called a cocoa crop crisis?
Hot cocoa is a cold weather staple, but climate change could be spelling trouble for this sweet treat. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer. The details coming right up.
All right, so this next story is going to have several dates, so kind of keep those ears perked up, okay, hearing closely. U.S. Postal Service announcing its shipping deadlines for the rest of the holiday season. USPS officials say items should be sent as soon as possible in order to make it to its destination by Christmas Eve. Okay, Christmas Eve, ASAP. Retail ground service deadline is December 17th, while priority mail service is December 19th. Priority mail express is December 22nd. Chocolate could be climate change's latest victim. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer taking a closer look.
Chocolate is one of the main ingredients in a cup of hot cocoa. But now your favorite wintry treat is at risk of getting more expensive.
When it should have rained, it didn't.
Farms in the West African country of Ivory Coast produce almost half of the world's cocoa, the raw ingredient used to make chocolate bars. But farmers here are blaming climate change for plaguing them with inconsistent rainfall. It's causing local growers to worry about their cocoa crops and their ability to meet the global demand.
The rain hasn't been abundant, and that has hit production. So if you expected to harvest 500 kilogram, you'll only be getting 200 kilogram. Our producers are really worried about their harvests.
The lack of rain is also affecting the growth cycle of some cocoa trees, making them prone to disease.
There are also certain plant diseases emerging that weren't around before, and this can also have a big impact.
Cocoa farming employs more than 500,000 people in Ivory Coast. Activists say climate change is one threat they can't ignore.
In order to deal with this scourge, which is ravaging the world, global warming, everyone must play their part. We need trees, and everyone should see it as a duty.
To prevent delays in production, farmers have been expanding their fields to grow more crops, but they fear their efforts may not be successful if the lack of rain continues into next year. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Up next, going to check out this attempt to break a world record for the largest salsa casino dancing circle. Salsa dancers in Venezuela shimmied their way through a stadium in Caracas to an attempt to beat a world record. Look at this, more than 2,000 people danced yesterday, hoping to beat the Guinness World Record for the largest salsa casino circle. Casino is a salsa partner dance that started back in Cuba in the 1950s. The organizer said he wants to show that Venezuela is keeping the dance tradition alive. Results of the record attempt, though, have not yet been announced. I think they did it. You gotta have hope, right? All right, Velveeta. I thought this was an interesting story because, my goodness, Velveeta is being sued over the cook time of its microwavable shells and cheese. Amanda Ramirez suing the company for $5 million for a, quote, false and misleading statement that it takes 3.5 minutes to prepare. Lawsuit also states the listed time is the length of one out of several steps to prepare the food. According to the suit, Ramirez believed and expected the product would be ready to eat in a total of 3.5 minutes. Kraft Heinz says, quote, "We are aware of this frivolous lawsuit and will strongly defend against the allegations in the complaint." I don't want to take sides, but I will say, we've heard the saying, time is money, right? Time is important, but this person should have their time audited for how important they think their time really is. I'll leave it at that, right? All right, 31 minutes of news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to learn about all the hard work that goes into making sure our local holiday parades go off safely.
Protesters are hitting the streets across China to demand an end to COVID restrictions and democratic reforms. I'm Jillian Turner in Washington. I've got those details coming up.
Christmas parade season is well underway, and with that comes safety concerns for some people. KOAM's Jalen Banks shares how the city of Joplin plans to stay safe for its upcoming Christmas parade.
Christmas parades will be taking place all over the 4 states, and with Joplin's Christmas parade coming up, JPD is ensuring that it'll be safe.
To outline the details such as parade routes and entry and exit points and roads that need blocked off. We'll be working weeks ahead of time in preparation to get our plans lined out, to get manpower in order so that we can adequately staff it, make sure it's a safe event for everybody involved.
With a lot of attention put on the parade, local businesses have concerns with the safety of their businesses during the parade.
We just recently had the Veterans Day parade and had no issues, so I wouldn't anticipate any problems for the Christmas parade, but it would be naive for me to believe that it's not at least possible.
But Captain Davis says otherwise.
And so we'll still have the same manpower out on the street covering calls for service and the other citizens' needs, and we'll have a contingent of officers that are specifically assigned to parade detail to ensure safety.
Captain Davis also says that yes, candy is allowed, but it's meant to be handed out and not thrown. In Joplin, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
Joplin's Christmas parade is going to be Tuesday, December 6th. To find all your 4-state parades, you can find them on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, this year, there's a new law in place where if any employee can get insurance from an employer, but it's not affordable to include family on the plan, they can get insurance from the Affordable Care Act. Freeman Health System is offering assistance to make sure families can get enrolled in the healthcare marketplace.
If an employer offers health insurance at an affordable rate for the employee, but does not for the dependents, women, children primarily, then affordable healthcare ACA program is now opened up to those family members to offer them health insurance through that. And the federal government currently indicates that that's going to reach about 1 million individuals across the nation.
The affordable rate is 9.5% of the income. If health insurance exceeds 9.5% of income, then it is considered unaffordable and the person can get tax credits from the ACA. Tomorrow is Giving Tuesday, and as a way to encourage donors to give to charities as part of their holiday preparations, the Better Business Bureau, BBB, encouraging donors to give, but give wisely. Provide some tips to follow to ensure you're donating to the right cause. First up, if you are unfamiliar with an organization, don't hesitate to ask the charity for written information about its programs and finances. They'll also say to not succumb to pressure to give out money right on the spot. Okay, think about it. And before donating used items, make sure they are in good shape to reuse.
Find the answers to these questions. What portion of the purchase or donation will benefit the charity directly or the program mentioned in the appeal? What is the duration of the campaign? And what is the maximum or minimum total contribution? And if that's not in the request, check the organization's website.
City of Joplin is officially in the holiday spirit, Christmas spirit, after lighting the City Hall holiday windows. Visit Joplin installed a stained glass holiday scene in the front windows of City Hall. The 3-pane painted vinyl panels resemble a stained glass effect and complement last year's windows. The window looks onto Main Street and Route 66. ZD Carthage is a little bit brighter tonight. Carthage Water and Electric Plant opened its Sparkle in the Park. Beautiful. It's a chance for people to come out Central Park, see a dazzling lights display.
It would bring people together and really highlight the beautiful community we have.
And we thought, what better way to do this than a lighting display that allows people to come out and enjoy this free of charge opportunity and really highlight our community. We have a beautiful city in Carthage.
Sparkle in the Park is going to be open every day until January 1st from 6 p.m. to midnight. Well, a report says tighter labor markets are downsizing jobs and employers are changing requirements. Listen to this. Wall Street Journal says some big companies like Google, Delta Airlines, IBM, okay, pretty big companies are swapping education requirements for experience. Google has an online college alternative program to fit some needs. Most IBM jobs don't require a 4-year degree anymore. One institute says postings requiring bachelor's degrees were down to 41% in November compared to last year. Chinese President Xi Jinping is facing his biggest leadership challenge as massive violent protests sweep the country. Fox News correspondent Jillian Turner has more now from Washington.
This is a first during Chinese President Xi Jinping's decade-long rule. Protesters across the country are demanding his resignation following a new COVID crackdown that appears to be backfiring. The demonstrations have been mostly peaceful, but in some cities, including Shanghai, we're seeing clashes with police and security forces. And what started as complaints about COVID restrictions quickly transforming into demand for political reform. Protests by Chinese people against the Communist Party are extremely rare, and now for the first time in decades, some experts say there may be significant consequences ahead for the government.
Chinese people are demanding not just to stop the lockdown, they're demanding political changes. We hear slogans that we haven't heard for a long time. They want democracy, not an emperor.
We're also seeing significant financial impacts as well. Markets in the U.S. taking a big hit in early trading, with investors worried about supply chain disruptions ahead of the busy holiday shopping season. China says its zero COVID policy will continue for now, meaning more shutdowns at factories and manufacturing plants. Some say the supply chain issues are already impacting American shoppers.
We're seeing it coming into the Christmas season, the holiday season now, obviously, where demand is going to be even greater for some of the very goods that are produced in China.
The White House National Security Council tells Fox News they support these protests and China's zero COVID policy will not work. In Washington, Jillian Turner, Fox News.
And a bit later, a historic piece of land in Hawaii seemingly making sure people don't forget about it.
The world's largest active volcano is erupting for the first time in nearly 4 decades. I'm William LaJeunesse in Los Angeles. Details coming up.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. We had quite a bit of sunshine. Temperatures pretty good. Most of us right around 60 degrees, but we have clouds increasing now. Nice shot of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but we are going to get a lot of clouds rolling in here throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. All right, only mid-40s yesterday. We dropped back near freezing during the morning hours. Topped out near 60 for us today, which is pretty good. That's a little bit above where we should be for this time of the year. 51, Independence 50 in Grove, Pittsburgh at 51. It's 49 in Neosho. Most of us are going to kind of hang out upper 40s to near 50 degrees as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. All right, 53 right now. Southerly winds 10 to 15. Humidity is at 59%. We actually got some pretty thick fog in here last night. We're not going to see that tonight, which is good, but the winds are really going to start to pick up. Late tonight, after midnight, into the morning hours, these southerly winds will start cranking up to 20, 25, and then we're going to start to get gusts 30 upwards to 50 later on tonight. Temperatures eventually upper 40s, and then we warm back near 60 by 10 a.m. Look at all the clouds increasing across the region. Nothing underneath the clouds, so we are going to stay dry. At best, we get a sprinkle across the region late tonight into tomorrow morning, but most of the moisture is going to stay to our north. The Rockies, Nebraska, South Dakota, stretching up into parts of Minnesota where they will see several inches of snow across the northern plains. For us, just a lot of clouds, random sprinkle as we go into tomorrow morning. A couple little showers trying to pop up, mid-60s by the time the noon hour rolls around, and then our temperatures will start to drop late in the afternoon. This is when our cold front slides through. We get some more clouds tomorrow night, kind of in and out of the clouds into Wednesday morning, but it's going to be a cold start. We start into the mid-20s as we go into Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon, we just don't warm up much. High temps right around 41, 42 degrees, so it's going to get quite a bit colder by Wednesday. Still fairly mild tomorrow, 56 at 7, 64 by noon. I think we'll get to 66, and then we'll drop back into the 50s during the afternoon, but the wind's way up there. Look at our wind gusts, upper 40s to near 50 miles per hour. Later on tonight, into tomorrow morning, and then slowly starting to diminish just a bit as we go into tomorrow, or into tomorrow night and into Wednesday morning. Let's go down the road. Slight chance for a few showers Friday, and then another storm system rolling in by Sunday, giving us chances for rain. But until then, not a whole bunch going on, rain or snow-wise, the next couple days. 66 tomorrow, 42 on Wednesday, 50 on Thursday, 58 Friday, and then cooling back down once again for the weekend.
I really think we've been blessed, lucky, however you want to put it. No ice.
Not yet.
Yeah, I know, yet.
Yeah.
I know it's coming, but yet. That's something to be thankful for.
That's good.
Doug, thank you. I appreciate it, man. All right, coming up in sports, Chiefs preparing for a big matchup this Sunday. Big, yeah? Yeah, all right. Plus, Pittsburgh State hosting Lincoln for its conference opener. Danny Terzer has those highlights and more next.
Pitt State women are 4-1 to start the season, and they're coming off a huge win. The Gorillas dropped 95 points in their home opener, their last time out. PSU is on the floor today, kicking off its MIAA schedule against the Lincoln Blue Tigers. Tristan Gegg gets the Gorillas rolling. Off the turnover, she finishes on the other end. Then great pass from Harper Schreiner. Gegg gets the bucket for 2. She scores the Gorillas' first 9 points and finishes with 16. In the second, Lincoln on the fast break. Kelsey Mitchell buries the 3. It's 31-29 Pitt State at half. Out of the break, Grace Pyle knocks one down from distance. Pitt State really starts to pull away now. And Karenna Gerber catches fire. Banks it off the board here. Gerber scores a team-high 17 points tonight, and Pitt State rolls by Lincoln 78-54. The men also host Lincoln in their MIAA opener this evening. The Gorillas put up a big second half and win it 66-54. Quentin Hardrick drops a team-high 20 points, and Deshaun English has a huge double-double, 17 points and 23 rebounds. The Kansas Jayhawks hit the floor against Texas Southern tonight. Kansas dominates 87-55. Jalen Wilson finishes with 22 points, and MJ Rice comes off the bench and scores 19. The Jayhawks improved to 7-1 this season. Kansas City Chiefs picked up their 5th straight win on Sunday, beating the Rams 26-10. They're now 9-2 this season. The Chiefs are on a roll, heading into a big game this Sunday. Kansas City travels to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. Last year, the Bengals beat the Chiefs twice, including a comeback overtime victory in the AFC Championship game. Here's Patrick Mahomes on what Kansas City has learned about the matchup.
You got to just continue to push. You can't be satisfied with where you're at. We scored a lot of points in the first half. We went in kind of thinking we were going to just kind of coast to the Super Bowl, but they're a team that's going to fight. So they're going to fight to the very end. That's why they were in the Super Bowl, and so we have to make sure that we go in with 2 great halves of football, and however long it takes. We'll be ready to go this next week for sure.
That's a look at sports. We'll be right back.
Scientists are on high alert, monitoring the eruption of Hawaii's Mauna Loa volcano. The day after the world's largest active volcano started erupting. Fox News national correspondent William Lajeunesse has more now from Los Angeles.
Ash and debris are now spewing from Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, as it erupts for the first time in nearly 4 decades.
We're way overdue. We were way overdue for a Mauna Loa eruption. And so we had prepared.
Mauna Loa, which is located on Hawaii's Big Island, started erupting Sunday night. As of now, lava flows are contained around the volcano's caldera at the summit. Still, civil defense officials warning residents not to be alarmed, but to be prepared in the event lava begins to flow toward populated neighborhoods.
We don't want to try and second guess the volcano. We have to let it actually show us what it's going to do, and then we inform people of what is happening ASAP.
Mauna Loa last erupted in 1984. In recent weeks, scientists have been on high alert due to an increase in earthquakes near the summit. They will continue monitoring for any fissures in the mountain's steep slopes where lava flows can emerge. There are currently no indications of lava breaking through into these rift zones.
There are a lot of similarities in the patterns that we're seeing at the volcano now to prior to 1984's eruption and prior to the 1975 eruption before that. And that is an increasing number of earthquakes below the summit of the volcano, some indication of deformation or swelling of the volcano.
The National Weather Service issuing an ashfall advisory to parts of Hawaii's Big Island, saying up to a 1/4 inch of ash could accumulate. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Coming up, a look at the movies now available to watch at home. DVD, digital, and music releases this week includes a psychological thriller, a crime thriller, an Emmy-winning sci-fi drama, and more. Here's Fox's Kristen Goodwin with a list of new releases.
Welcome to the Victory Project.
Olivia Wilde's psychological thriller, Don't Worry Darling, tops this week's list of what's new in home entertainment. The film is the second directorial feature for Wilde, who also stars alongside Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, and Chris Pine. It centers on a 1950s housewife who discovers disturbing secrets about her utopian experimental community.
In the next hour, you will make $200 cash, but you will have to do something illegal.
Aubrey Plaza stars in the crime thriller Emily the Criminal. She plays an art school grad who turns to a life of crime to pay off her student loans.
You've forgotten who you are.
Small screen favorites available to own. The fourth and final season of HBO's Emmy-winning sci-fi drama Westworld, starring Evan Rachel Wood, Jeffrey Wright, Ed Harris, and Tandy Wayne Newton.
He was so alive.
Seasons 1 and 2 of Kaylee Cuoco's Emmy-nominated series The Flight Attendant centers on an airline worker who accidentally gets involved in a murder mystery.
You've read The Godfather, right? Godfather.
And the limited series The Offer chronicles the making of Francis Ford Coppola's 1972 Oscar-winning classic The Godfather. It stars Miles Teller, Matthew Good, and Dan Fogler.
That's movie magic, baby.
In Hollywood, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of the annual Krampus run in Austria. Good goodness, I'm so thankful I didn't grow up with this guy in my culture, you know? Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.